All right. I think we are live. I see we've been live for 13, 14 seconds.
Oh, that's interesting. I think so.
Cool. Well, hello everyone, and thank you for joining us on your Wednesday afternoon, if it's Eastern Standard Time or so. It's a very global community, so good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. But anyways, welcome to the Fireside Hang on September 24. Got some fun things to talk about. Also joined by Idris. I don't know if Idris is if this is your first Fireside Hang or but feel free to introduce yourself to the community.
Yes, GM. Hi, everyone. So my name is Idris Olusi. I'm on the DevRel team, focusing on everything education, academy, and also developer experience, particularly to make every developer interacting with Midnight successful. And whatever success means to anyone, either by deploying your application or by learning about ZK or by interacting with our technology generally, all of those things are something that I can personally help you with, and of course the DevRel team. So yeah, really excited to be here to join you, Stephen.
Sweet. And in today's agenda, we're gonna go over this getting started section that I've been working on, and kind of um, and it also plugs in really well into what Idris is working on. Um, I'll go over some getting started stuff, and then I just talk about some things he's working on. So, so I'm actually going to share a screen and then talk about what's all going on here. Let me just find the right window. I think it's this one. And then I need to make sure it's the right size too. And let me make sure I could find Restream. All right, so do you guys see the documentation site? All right. So,
Yeah.
cool. And then let's do um, this here. So this is the current Midnight documentation website. So we have this documentation website, and then I also have my localhost. So one of the things with Midnight is developer onboarding. There's still a lot of opportunities to improve the developer onboarding. A lot of people come into hackathons. Sometimes there's a lot of time commitment just to onboard, and a lot of people ask very simple questions like, "How do I get started? How do I write a contract from scratch? How do I deploy?" Um, and those things, and there's like a lot of tooling opportunity as well to improve that. Like a lot of other blockchains that have very mature tooling. Eventually, Midnight will get there, but we still need to try to accommodate for where the Midnight developer experience is now with the tools we have, and also plan features in the future. So if anyone's looking for like good, um, and maybe we can have some bounties for some of this stuff too, but people ask some simple questions like, how do you deploy? And a lot of people, they have to go to a lot of these examples. For example, like how to or build tutorials, build from example. And they go through building from an example. And a lot of these examples have a very complicated deployment setup. There's multiple TypeScript files which define environments which aren't exactly completely relevant. It's like, hey, I just want to deploy, put it on, I just want to get everything I need installed. Actually, let me go to the community board because I outline it very nicely. Um, oh, and that is not good. All right. Let me disable people calling me and stuff. All right, cool. So, all right, so we have this getting started, and we have all the DApp proposals in here now. Let me see, getting started. So people just want to install, they want to create a Midnight application, and they want to deploy their app. And they also want to interact with their DApp, build a simple front end, and yeah, that's what people really want to do, and those are common questions. So in order to do that, we're trying to rewrite the getting started. So for example, getting started, we have installation and create a Midnight app and some of the new things that are coming here. So as far as installing, if we look at the other getting started, we have user quick start and builder quick start, but ideally people should be starting from the same thing, right? So because we want everyone to be using Midnight. So you go through all of this, and you go to the user quick start or builder quick start, and it's really just installation stuff. So hey, let's just package this into installation, and then let's also go to creating a Midnight application. So in this current iteration of getting started, and this will be published on the docs by the end of the week, we have installing, hey, install the Midnight Lease wallet, create your wallet, get your test tokens, and that's pretty much like the user quick start. Then we also have setting up the proof server, installing Compact, and then installing the Compact VS Code extension. So at this point, everyone is set up to be a user and also have like basic installed stuff for DApp development. And then once they install everything, they could go into creating a Midnight application. So we have creating a new project. And I kind of went with an NPM project. So people would be able to, initialize a new NPM project, go with this project structure, and then also start writing a hello world. And go into like, okay, but before we start writing hello world, let's start going into some of the basics of Compact with that, which is kind of like more of a normal flow. So like specifying a version, like the Pragma language version. Then we can also go into like, hey, well, you can also define a range. So write that into your contract. And then as you're following along, it's like, okay, your contract should look like this where you're defining the Compact version. We also have the Compact standard library. So now we have Compact standard library that basically has all like the basic primitive types and functions that Compact supports, and those have to be imported in a contract. So people go into that. So at this point, you have a contract that's ready to be for writing. And then obviously part of Compact is defining the ledger section or the ledger declaration, right? So kind of give some hints here. And this is also kind of in the Compact reference, but probably a lot of people aren't going to see it. But how do you make a ledger declaration? Like how do you define what's actually going to be on the public ledger state? So I have some syntax template here, like, right, you have your ledger, your identifier, and your type. And you can also export the ledger declarations so that can be discoverable within your app or something like that. Kind of like how in TypeScript or other JavaScript stuffs you would use the export. And then given this, we need to write our message, right? So kind of goes into talking about, so instead of just showing you what to write, just going to some explainer like, all right, we're going to store a message. It's going to be hello world. And compact has a bunch of primitive types. Basically, these are like the data types. And we're going to use the bytes array for that because that supports UTF-8. And we're setting it to 11 characters because that's enough for the hello world message. And then we're going to export the, then we go into exporting the message and assigning the type value, following the similar syntax tips here. And then going over and then having a recap like, all right, well, this is how your contract should look. And then we have the circuit definition. So circuits are basically like the functions, but obviously they use all the ZKP magic stuff that happens basically in our ecosystem. So we basically define a circuit. So we're going to export a circuit and the function is going to be to store a message. We're not really passing any parameters, but the logic here is that message, which is this message of 11 bytes, will equal hello world. And your contract should now look like this. And now as I'm kind of like narrating what this is looking like, but this is a type of onboarding that we don't really have in Midnight, where it goes from like really from, I guess that you say that 0 to hero onboarding. Like, let's not start from an example. We set up our project. Now we're writing a contract and going through some of the basics. Jay, who's our other developer, he has already gave some feedback about adding a witness here, which I think definitely we can do. But yeah, but then we go into compiling contract, discussing some of the build artifacts in there, and then I have some repetitive stuff in my PR. This is currently on localhost, so I just have to clean it up a little bit more. But also talking about contract compilation. So in some of the docs, it still has some of the outdated method of using the binary or that compact home variable. But if you go through the installation, you already installed compact. So now we say like, hey, in your NPM project, just add the compact script, and now you can repeatedly compile it. And then that goes into your compiling. But I do have some changes where I'm going to adding the witness stuff. But one of the harder parts is I would like to go into deploying, but there's not really a simple way for deploying on Midnight. There's a lot of opportunities for better deployment tools, but I'm trying to reverse engineer some of the ways that we currently describe it. So if you go to like example counter, we have a huge, like if you go to the counter, we have all these different environment files for different environments, such as local, remote, using different versions of the proof server. Some are not really that important to everybody. Like they just want to deploy testnet. They don't need to deploy to a devnet or another environment. So how can we create something like this from scratch and something that could be reusable, where the next section goes into like, okay, you wrote your hello world. Now let's create a deployment script and get the associated packages, deploy that, etc. That's where it's kind of going. There is some new stuff to discover as far as creating a better deployment method. But if anyone's got feedback for that, we're all open to we're all ears. So that's kind of the yeah, that's kind of where it is with the getting started. I'm going to be publishing a lot of this stuff very soon to the docs by the end of the week. But I do have a draft PR up, which is public, but I'm probably going to graduate that out of draft end of day today and get some, and based on whatever feedback or style guide changes, that would be the only thing that would be needed before merging. So yeah.
Yeah, that's like really really interesting because if you there's still room for like improvement for a lot of things to be added, and we are hoping like every developer trying to like build something now they have a soft landing the way I like to call it, a soft landing to what they can do for now, and also um, what they need to improve on. So I think we have a couple of questions here from the chat.
What's the questions?
Oh, okay. Hi. Oh, hi. Thank you guys for joining. Yes, now we are here. Thank you for joining. Holo. Yeah, I think that's your name. Holo.
Where's the best place to give feedback? I'd say open an issue on the, I have a pull request within the Midnight documentation repo that says getting started. So if you want to review that PR, go ahead in there and check it out.
Yeah, and also if you're part of our Discord, you can so you can create. We have the community hub that you can check out things for you to pick up issues to work on, and if you have any ideas, also you can create issue directly on the hub. Also, we have a very active channel on our Discord for development, conversation that you can talk to every other people. And we also have like other developer teams watching those, Discord channel closely to answer your question and also give you feedback directly. But we have like two forms of feedback here. You can get feedback directly from the developer, or if you think there's something that is not just like the feedback, maybe an improvement that you want to suggest, you can either create an issue on the community hub, like the community board, or you go directly to the repo and create an issue directly on the docs repo. And also, most importantly, we have forum. Like we have our forum. I think we'll have it like pinned on the screen. Okay, yeah, it's already showing on the screen. Check out our forum. Forum is also a place that we have, a lot of conversation going on, right? So why there's forum is that you get way more like opportunity to get questions to like everybody without losing track. Sometimes Discord could get like messy along the line with a lot of questions and different ongoing conversation. But for forum, you have like the option to create you can create a topic, you can tag people, you can assign and do all of those things to get like immediate answer and immediate response directly to your questions. So you can check it out, forum.midnight.network. And of course, it's free. You can just directly ask your question there, and we'll be happy to answer your questions. Okay, another question. The AI chatbot on dogs is not working on my end. Will you have support? Yes, I don't know which browser are you using. I think probably it's a fixed peculiar to like your PC, but you can just feel free to create open an issue on GitHub on the docs repo itself, and they will be happy to like help you to figure out what is not working on your end. Yeah, and also if you're part of the Discord, but I think the best place to open this type of issue that is not working is on docs on the repo, and they will get back to you. I think we have another question. I'm on Windows. My Compact compiler is on Ubuntu. I want to link the Compact command with package.npm. Okay, how can I do that using a developer toolchain? Do you want to take this, Steven? Based on like the, I see we we have like a startup plate for using npm, which you just showed on the getting started page. So do you have like an easy way for this to use any developer to chain?
So on my Windows, my compiler is on Ubuntu WSL. I want to link compact command with the packaging and npm. How can I do that? Am I using the developer toolchain? Basically, you just put a script within your npm project. So like within your Windows subsystem for Linux, I would say just work within the file system in WSL. So when you have WSL shell open, I don't necessarily use WSL that often, but last time I used it, I know you can see where the file system is on your Windows host machine for that Ubuntu instance. So you can see the project and the files in there. But when you're in Ubuntu and that shell, I would say work in there when you're working with your npm project, and then as far as and then install compact within WSL, so that WSL recognizes the compact command. And then within your package.json file, you provide the script, which will be in the getting started for npm to run the compact compile, and then you target the contract. If that makes sense, sorry. But that's how I think you would go about it with WSL.
Yeah, I hope that answers your question, Moses. Okay. Yeah, I think we've answered the questions. I think another thing that I wanted to like touch on is some of the changes or like some of the resources that you all will be seeing going forward. So developer experience is something that we really prioritize, and we know how painful it is for anyone building today to figure out things themselves. And then you should expect, some more um, technical content and also technical piece, either video content or written content. So you should be on a lookout for that on our YouTube channel, on our socials. We'll definitely post them once it's live. And particularly for the dogs. Okay, I think we have a question before I proceed. Said I watched the tutorial the other day, suggests that we have Power BI instead of WSL. It wasn't specifically for midnight, but Linux on Windows. Oh, okay. I think this is a follow-up question to your response, Steven.
I watched a tutorial the other day that suggests using Hyper-V instead of WSL. I haven't used Hyper-V, so it wasn't specific for Midnight or Linux or Windows. So if you find like a terminal emulator that you get a lot of better you might, if you find, because I've used some other shells, like you have if you find a shell that works better for you, then feel free to use it. And if it does work better for you, tell us, like maybe it'll help other Windows users. Because I know there's Git Bash, which is really nice, but yeah.
Yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Is there
I think Moses responded, yeah, great. So that answers his question. Um, uh,
cool. And I also want to give a shout out to those have been following. There's that Dega AI. I think it's up to 8K in rewards. There's a Dega AI midnight hackathon going on right now. So I want to encourage people to check that out. And I'm going to give you guys, let me see. I do have a link to, they have an informational, like everything you need to know thing. So I'm going to try to put that on the screen. So the Dega AI hack is going on. I believe it ends the 29th, if I'm not mistaken. Or it goes from September 22nd to 29th. So if you want to participate in that, definitely go there. They're doing everything from like midnight AI tooling, using their tools to like MCP server type of thing. So it's pretty cool stuff. So even if you're not submitting, I think it's a great learning experience to see some of the stuff you can do with midnight and AI. There's also going to be the beginning of the MLH. There's going to be a MLH hack, I believe, that starts on Friday.
Yeah.
So I think everyone should keep an eye out for that. Here at midnight, we always have the hacks coming. So keep an eye out for that. And let me see if I have a useful link for you guys for that.
Yeah, I think it's on the screen. We have a link going on the screen where you can find our ongoing hackathons, midnight.network/hackathon. You would see our upcoming hackathons there and the ones that are still ongoing. If you want to check it out, that's like easy for you to find all of our hackathons and also be a part of it. Not just find it, but also registering and be a part of it. And also the other hackathon that is also coming up is the in-person hackathon, the summit, the Midnight Summit hack that is ongoing. You should check our Discord announcement channel. Check our Discord announcement channel. That's where you find details about the hackathon, how you can register, how you can be a part of it. I think we recently just extended the dates for registration, so you have opportunity to jump in right now and register. So you can register as individual. If you are still trying to like form a team, you can just register. Just make sure that everyone on the team registers or everyone register, and then you can either form a team before registering or after registering. We can pair you up with like other members that are also looking for team members. So you can apply as a solo hacker, or as a team member. So check the Discord, discord.com. You can see on the screen showing discord.com/invites@midnight network. Once you join the Discord, you should check the announcement channel. You'll see all of these details on how you can get started quickly, what you need to do to sign up, your information that you need to share, and other things that you need to prepare. Then going forward, you receive like emails and notifications from us on if there's any other thing that you want to do apart from that. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you, Idris. So unless there's any questions, I think Idris kind of closed this out with all the encompassing things, where to go and everything.
Yeah. So thank you all for joining. Yeah, I can see comments like, yeah, if you are already participating or like if you're preparing to participate in the MLH hack, please do. We'll be happy to like have you all on board. And also, again, I want to mention like check our Discord, check the announcement channel. So most of our conversation and announcements goes out on Discord mostly. And if you check the announcement channel, you find all of these details. So you see it first. And also you can, follow us on socials. We have other informations that go out every now and then on our socials too, should in case you miss out on Discord for any reason. And particularly, like I mentioned earlier on, we have like upcoming changes, and then we'll be putting all of these things out for you all to see what we are working on from the developer experience standpoint to our docs that we're working on, and also let's not forget like the academic content that is coming up, right? So one of the things I'm really, really interested, like that gets me really excited, is about like the academy. And one of the things we want to achieve with the academy is for everyone, if you are new into the ZK world, or you'll be doing something with maybe Secom or NOAA, if you have experience and you want to like build with Midnight, we have like a very structured curriculum that is currently being worked on that will be shared publicly once it's ready for everyone to like try it out. You can try it out, sign up, and then I'm sure you all will enjoy it. So I think we have another question on. Okay, so I will just quickly touch on these, then I'll pass it to Stephen to like also say something about this. So there are a lot of use cases you can think of today apart from Counter. I agree, counter is too easy, but you also need to think about like what you need to do. What is that soft landing or soft spot for developers that are coming from either EVM or non-EVM ecosystem to try out or build on Midnight. That is why the counter example exists today. But then we have several other use cases. But where you find all of these interesting ideas is if you check our community hub today, we have a ton of ideas that's already listed on the community hub. In fact, it contains like the use case, different use cases. Maybe I can share my screen quickly to show you um, the hub. I really want you guys to uh, see what we have there. Yeah, I'm not sure you guys can see my screen yet, but okay, perfect. So if I go to the hub, 1 second. Yes, so let me zoom in. I think I need to zoom in a bit. If you guys can see my screen. Okay, yeah. So we have the community board for ideas. Like if you check this part, we have like everything going. You can track all the things that is currently in progress. And also, if you check the to your question, if you check this session where like sorry this category where we have like no status, you can see some ideas here, right, and some other tasks. But let me scroll down a bit. You can see we have tons of ideas that we've listed here. So beyond the counter app, you can check this particular board to see different DApp proposals. You can see we have like private stablecoin remittance, how we have on-chain credit scoring. So if you click on, let me click on this, you see um, the title, one sentence summary of what you should work on. What problem does this solve, or what opportunity, when building this app? And then some other things that you might have to like, figure out along. If you, let's say you want to work on this idea, for example, you know what the idea is all about. And then once you start researching on how some of the problem that you want to solve, you can then come up with like, oh, who are your target users? Who do you think will benefit most from this particular application? And also how can they also benefit from midnight data protection features? All of these things are things that you figure out. If you notice, we have most of them on idea stage. So if you want to jump on this right away, you can just assign it to yourself, and then you update this progress so that we can tell that, oh, somebody's already working on this. So this is just one out of many ideas. I can keep scrolling. You can see my screen. Like the list is very long, right? You can see a lot of different, from AI to finance. If you check this one now, it says decentralized video streaming AI for content delivery. If this is interesting to you and you think you can find a better use case, you can find like you can be able to identify the problem statement here and also provide solutions. You can just go directly and assign it to yourself. This board is public, and we encourage everybody on the team today to everybody watching right now, and also everyone interested in building, or you are looking for any idea, inspiration on what you should build aside counter app or bboard app or any of these basic examples that we have today. You can check this out and jump on it right away. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Just with passing my back to Steven if you want to say anything.
I'm not familiar with Frontera, so probably not. But if you create an issue in the community board and maybe inform us a little bit of Frontera, we can look into it more.
Okay, no, I think you said front end, not frontier.
Oh, I'm like, what's Frontera? Front end.
Yeah, is like the person was referring to, is there a tutorial how to connect front end with Compact smart contract?
There's not a step-by-step tutorial, but we do have examples of that in the bulletin board. And there's also a bunch of hackathon submissions where everyone's doing it in different ways using like Next.js and other different frameworks. And you can see that generally in the awesome dApps list. But that's also why we're rewriting the getting started, because it's like, all right, create it from scratch, the NPM project, and start plugging in some of the Midnight JS modules, and then start putting a front end onto it and interacting with the contracts API.
Yeah.
So it's not too well documented, but it's getting better. But the current status is, I would say, look at the bulletin board UI and what other people are doing. But the getting started will eventually have a segment to cover that.
Yeah, yeah. I also wanted to add to that, like, question on, so resources like how do I connect my front end, step by step guide. We have plans, like this is just some how far I'm releasing. There are some plans to roll out some, specific video content for these particular use cases, and we'll be rolling that out like in a couple of in next few weeks. And you should see how you can implement maybe your front end, Next.js, React, or whatever front end library you're using, and then plugging it to Compact, smart contract. And also, like Steven mentioned, you can check out like awesome dApp repo lists. We have some dApp examples there, and you can see what people are building and how they are able to like connect it. But yeah, of course, we have plans to roll out like some of these specific examples for connecting your front end. And to your point on the screen right now, Okereke, right? You mentioned like a good idea to have to make an end-to-end tutorial or a guide from scratch where you can build a full app. Yeah, exactly my point, right? So these are like different pieces, and you should expect that from like the dev team and myself, where we have like the front end, how showcasing how you can connect the front end to the back end or front end to your contract directly, and also how you can set up the full stack application. So we'll take like an example use case where we'll build like the Next.js app or the front end app and the contract itself in a single video, so that you see how to do it on the front end, you code along, and then how to do it on the back end, and most importantly, how to make them interact with each other. Today, if you check the Bboard example repo, you find this particular use case, the front end and the contract. But I'm going to we'll find a way to like simplify it in such a way that you can have an example reference that you always go to each time if you want to build out your own ideas. So you don't have to like be stuck with what is currently being implemented with the Bboard example, but you can also come up with your own idea.
Yeah, and the CLI and UI is cool. And in a way, you can make an argument for both. So you can use a CLI to start test interactions with the making contract calls and stuff, or maybe getting information back. But then it's like, all right, it's almost like you're kind of like, it's almost like, I guess, like a contract API playground, the CLI, right? That you're debugging, it's working, okay. And then it's like, all right, well, let's make it more into an application. And then you slap the UI onto it. Maybe that's where the getting started should go. So
yeah, exactly.
I appreciate that comment a lot.
Yeah, and also like I saw someone mention like the boilerplate are good but tricky to replicate and extend. Exactly why we'll be shipping out like resources specific for a very simple example that you can try out immediately, instead of going through like the boilerplate, trying to reverse engineer the process, or try to like plug in different things where you now need to learn about the tutorial in the first, like the example first before you do your thing. So would have like lots more specific use case for things that developers are building today. Don't worry, we've been like interacting with developers, we've been interacting with you all, so we have at least good insight on what exactly you guys are looking for, and then we'll be doubling down on that particular effort to make sure that onboarding is seamless for everyone, and also every developer checking out our docs, building on midnight, can smile anytime they hear me midnight at any point in time. So yeah, I think, I'm not sure if there's another question.
Is there anything else? These are some great questions.
Yeah, really good questions.
And someone asked about more complex use cases too. I personally like to show my own use cases I like to see. So when Cardano Bitcoin DeFi becomes a little bit more mature, we kind of have a great example of how to lock Bitcoin. And then once you lock Bitcoin, then maybe we can port some of whatever the it'd be cool if we can port some of the specifications to mint the cryptographically verifiable Bitcoin, how they would do it on Cardano, onto Midnight. And then we have what some people in the community have called Bitcoin Black, where you can have like a privacy Bitcoin. That would be pretty cool. And then you have like actual trust, better wealth management, instead of everyone having all these. There's a lot of companies, governments, and everything adopting treasuries now, and there's a lot of risk when you're just doxing your entire wealth, and it's also super risky when it comes to RWAs. So there's this one partner that we're working with. I don't think I have their permission to discuss what they're working on in particular. I know they're working on some RWA stuff, and they've actually implemented Midnight in a way to where they can do onboard RWAs in a private manner, because a lot of people who are doing RWAs, they realize like, hey, if you're like your own company and stuff, maybe you don't want your real estate portfolio completely doxed. Maybe you do want to actually only share minimum viable information. For example, like in the US, if you look at housing markets, you're generally able to see how much a house maybe went for, what was the deal, but you don't like know all the personal details about each party that was involved in the deal. Because if you did, then now you're leaking stuff to attackers where they can take a loan on your house and do all kinds of other weird, crazy stuff. So Midnight is there for. So I think that's where. I think that's where Midnight's going to shine a lot in the RWA space, but obviously it's still very early. But some people are exploring that at the moment. I like to get these guys on and talk about this sometime. So maybe they'll come on a future Fireside hang, talk about some of the specifications they've been building for that space.
Yeah, that would be really, really good, like interesting use case. And I think we have some content on our YouTube specific to some hackathon projects, what they're building, some of the ideas they have. You can check that out too. We have like different episodes that covers like, just to get inspiration from what people are already building today, that you can also, learn from and then build your own application. Not for a chain, okay.
All right. Is there any questions?
I think that's all for now. Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you very much, everyone, for taking the time to taking time to spend time with us on this Wednesday. And obviously, Fireside Hangs happen every Wednesday. There's always a different host, sometimes surprise guests, and it's a great chance to ask questions live as well. But again, just to reiterate, the Getting Started section is coming by the end of this week. There's a PR in the docs repo if anyone wants to start contributing some feedback to it. And there's also that Dega AI hack happening right now. And also another MLH hackathon is going to be starting Friday. So go to the hackathons page in the Midnight website. And yeah, have a great day. There's lots going on.